Hello, good afternoon for all. Thank you for your presence in this webinar. We will talk about the American drones market, the Latin America drone market, especially from Brazil. My name is Emerson Graneman. I'm the CEO of Mundo Gel, promoter of the drone show fair. We are based in south of Brazil. By the way, speaking from Curitiba. Let's start now. Por que não está indo aqui? Não, o próximo. Não está indo. Hã? Não está trocando aqui, Guilherme. Just a moment, please. Just a moment. We have problem with the second image. Okay. Besides me, we will also have the participation of Coronel Jorge Humberto Vargas from Aerospace Control Department. We will be speaking about the drones regulation. He's in Rio right now. And also we will have the participation that Ms. Mindy Herzog, commercial officer from U.S. Commercial Service in Brazil. She's in São Paulo. Pay attention, during our presentation, you can use the chat for questions. They will be answered at the end of our speech. Let's talk about Mundo Gel. Mundo Gel is a communication and event promotion company founded in 1998. Our mission in the area of gel information is to promote this technology as an instrument for intelligent decision making. In the drone areas, our mission is similar, to promote the technology of drones for commercial use, but with a focus on quality and safety, providing incomes and jobs. Our products are produce content for internet and for our magazine, Drone Show magazine. We organize a lot of webinars and the Drone Show fair. We are releasing the AP Drone Show, and we're supporting the Drones Entrepreneurs Forum. Despite our political and economical problems, and the Brazil coast, Ms. Minda will talk more about this. We have some positive aspects in the drone sector. Here in Brazil, we have great interest of the public and the media for technological innovations. We need law investment to set up company startups. We have rapidly in generating solution for new demands and great ability to generate fast income and new jobs. Brazil needs a lot of jobs nowadays. We have great capacity for entrepreneurship of Brazilian businessmen. And we have a viability of investors interested in opening companies in this sector. Main challenge at the Brazil market. My friend Coronel Vargas will try to explain more about the regulation, because the legal insecurity due to lack of regulation here. Our entrepreneurs are not yet organized to press Brazilian agency enough. A pricing policy for the service hasn't been developed yet. And the economic and politics instability. The devaluation of the local currency against the dollar. In Brazil, the main markets in Brazil for drones is precision farming, is very strong in Brazil. and mining, in the infrastructure, as inspections of works in electrical towers, bridges, big buildings, industry buildings, and others. The other market is security for border control and protection of private areas. And the mapping is very strong for environment and city management. We don't have a lot of numbers for Brazil in this sector, but we show something, some economic information. The predictions of 1,000 service companies in Brazil, including some dealers and Brazil drone manufacturers. Sky drones, Exmo boats, FT system, Horus, G drones, Dronage, Santos Lab, and others. We have more than 20 drones flying in Brazil. We had $66 million generated in Brazil in 2015, and we have $14 million in business generated at the last drone show in 2016. I would like to take a look at the video from our last show. In May, we will holding to the third edition of the drone show. There were 3,200 participants and 52 exhibitors in the 2016 edition. Guilherme, take a look, put the video, please. Pronto, não. Okay. I hope that you like the video. Let me explain our event in this year. We will have a very big list of course and seminars. We will have 18 seminars, course, roundtables, and workshops with more than 100 speakers. We will have some special activities, as like a drone academy, racing, film festival, meeting for startups and investors, and demonstration of autonomous drone flights. And the last with the drone and the drone show award, where the best companies and professionals of the year are chosen on the internet. Now I would like to invite, at the end of my presentation, I would like to invite Coronel Jorge Humberto Vargas from Aerospace Control Department to talk about drone regulation. I remember that question can be sent by the chat to be answered at the end of the webinar. Vargas is with you. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Emerson. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vargas. I'm Lieutenant Colonel from Brazilian Air Force. I'm working at Department of Aerospace Control, more specifically in the military operations planning sector. In the RPAS area, I'm the coordinator of the subject within the scope on the SEA, and I'll try to share my presentation you now. Wait a second, please. Okay, in my presentation, I'm going to talk a little about the Aeronautical Command's Instructions, ACI 100-40, a document that deals with the access to Brazilian airspace by remotely piloted aircraft. Initially, I would like to make a historical context presenting the Brazilian departments that deal with and which currently deal with subjects related to Brazilian airspace. In 1931, President Getúlio Vargas created by decree the Department of Civilian Aviation, DCA. 70 years later, the President Fernando Henrique created the Department of Airspace Control, removing from the DCA the competence to deal with airspace access issues. In 2005, the President Lula created the National Civilian Aviation Agency. Initially, this DAC, the Department of Civilian Aviation, works like FAA in US, issuing certificates and licenses and taking care airspace access, American airspace access. The SEA is responsible for management of all activities related to the safety and efficiency of airspace control. Our mission is to manage and control the air traffic over Brazilian territory, as well as to maintain its sovereignty. In 2005, with 1,182, ENAC was created with its competence based on 11 points. At this time, for this presentation, there are 3 for which users and RPAS explorers should turn their attention now. The first one, ensure and enable air operations. The second one, airworthiness certificates attesting the aircraft. And the third one, necessary licenses and qualifications to airmen. In 2008, ICAO created a study group called Unmanned Aircraft Systems Study Group, the UASSG, of which Brazil participates since 2009. Initially focused on the change to the annexes to the Chicago Convention of 1944 and the creation of a guide to RPAS operations, which would summarize Annex 2. Since 2009, the SEA has already presented its regulation for access to Brazilian airspace by remotely piloted aircraft, as shown below. 2009 was published AIC, Aeronautical Information Circular 29. 2010 was published the Aeronautical Information Circular November 21. 2013, we were hurry about a big job, hard job with the Brazilian airspace at all. So we divided the job, the work in regions, and this DCA was responsible, like a guideline that defines the responsibilities of the regional bodies and the action directed to the RPAS, especially the RPAS access the Brazilian airspace. 2015, Aeronautical Circular Information 100-40, the first edition of it, and 1 year after, the second edition of it. Here in Brazil, as the rest of the world, we have three issues. We had and we have three issues were very distressing for RPAS activities in Brazil. Among them, first one, the privacy. That in Brazil has its right predicted in the federal constitution. The second one, the loss of command and control, which in Brazil is a competence of the National Telecommunications Agency, Anatel. And the damage to people or property subject that initially generate a certain confusion, which will be explained after. So, facing these issues, what of such importance, what should we do to Brazilian airspace access by RPAS? Certainly, it's not prohibiting the operation, not trying to destroy it. Since the beginning of operations in Brazil, we have encountered complex operations, as you can see now in this picture, where remotely piloted aircraft needed to use the same portion, the same portion of airspace as other managed aircraft. No, that is not allowed. We, in Brazil, do not share the use of airspace, and yes, we do an accommodation of airspace to manage and unmanned aircraft, especially for unmanned aircraft. The requested operation went against existing terminal areas, causing impact on air navigation, and also had an impact on routes known by managed aircraft like helicopters. After analysis of air traffic management, ATM, areas were reduced, corridors were created, and blocks of levels were segregated in order to enable the intended operations, maintaining the same level of airspace security safety in Brazil. That way, yes, we authorized an operation with its risks without causing any impact and making clear what the users were authorized to do. All our operations on both managed and unmanned aircraft provide for a flexible use of airspace so as to cause the least possible impact, since sharing is not yet a fact. When an unmanned aircraft is expected to take off its airdrome and the next next expected area to be reached are considered segregated airspace. In this case, after the takeoff of the Alpha area as an airdrome, and upon reaching the Nordeste corridor, the Bravo 1 area is activated, leaving the previous area Alpha free. Similarly, upon reaching Bravo 1, Bravo 2 is activated and the Nordeste corridor is deactivated. So, there is a forecast for activation by demand. After learning with all the operations and studying better what was RPAS, we verified that the actions foreseen as penalties for the managed aircraft were the same to be applied to the unmanned aircraft. In this way, all actions of RPAS that cause damage or danger to persons or property will be treated according to the existing laws. So, what can we do now? As I said, the same laws that apply to managed aircraft can and should be applied to unmanned aircraft. Just check the concept of aircraft. What is an aircraft? Any machine that can kept in the air by air reactions other than the air against the surface. So, yes, model airplanes and RPA are aircrafts. We can apply existing laws. Article 261 of Penal Code, exposing to danger vessels and aircraft or cause difficulties to the air navigation. Article 13, Brazilian Aeronautical Code, federal law. We made 10 aircraft that do not comply with these provisions. Article 268 of the CBA, Brazilian Aeronautical Code. The operator is responsible for damage caused to third parties on the surface. Article 274, the operator is liable to for damages to people or property. However, to apply these laws, we need to know who is flying and what is flying. After the necessary records, we know now who is flying and what is flying. But what about the rest of the system? The frequency of command and control is legal, is strong enough. The impact of on air aviation, air navigation, in fact. The properties on the surface, what the risk for it, and about the people not involved in the operation. Areas without overflight restricted or prohibited. So, we have the aeronautical circular information which deals with the subjects in some types of operation. Flights are at very low altitudes, considered below 400 feet. Flights in confined areas, flights near obstacles, flights on people, flights over secured areas, flights over dangerous areas or dangerous conditions. General rules for RPAS access. For access the Brazilian airspace, you need to comply with the rules of regulatory agencies to know the contacts of the regional organs and ATS and ATC of the area in which it will operate. Fly VMC, fly VLOS, being away 30 meters from people do not agree with the risks of the operation. Once the rules for access to airspace have been defined, users must meet certain points to make their flight requests. RPAS with PMD, or maximum takeoff weight of 25 kilograms, up to 100 feet, 45 minutes to request your operation. Between 100 feet and 400 feet, 2 working days. RPA, in fact, flight requests with maximum takeoff weight above 25 kilograms, 18 days. For maximum takeoff weight over 25 kilograms, any flights in segregated airspace, a NOTAM will be issued and is valid for 3 months, can be extended by 3 more. So the Aeronautical Common Instructions 100-40 is in its 2nd edition. In its review in red, basically, the deadlines for requesting flights have changed, created the RPAS system for online operations requests, and night operations were allowed. So this is the sales presentation, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Vargas. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Mindy from Commercial Office by U.S. Commercial Service in Brazil to talk about the support for the American companies in Brazil. Mindy, it's you.
Thank you, and thank you, Emerson, for organizing this and the drone show. I'm looking forward to being part of it this year. Let me just open up a PowerPoint I have. So I'll just go through this really quickly. I'm Mindy Herzog, the commercial officer at the U.S. Commercial Service here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And first, let me tell you, forget about everything you know about Brazil, because when I arrived here, I was shocked at the innovation and the business that happens here. It's not all beaches and Amazon. It's actually a really amazing place to do business. Just some statistics for those who don't know. Brazil is Latin America's largest economy, the 9th largest in the world, and it represents more than half of the population and economy of Latin America. Currently, we're seeing a slow but good growth for the coming year. You can see some of the other statistics on the slides. Over 200 million people, a GDP of over 200 trillion. So the one thing I do tell companies when they come to market is they need to be aware of the Custo Brasil, which includes lots of high tax burden and several other things that they should be aware of. That being said, because it's such a great market and it's growing, we have lots and lots of companies that are still doing business here despite some of these things. One thing that we can do is we can help you understand all of the different taxes. And again, I just wanted to show this to companies so that they could understand all the different things that go into importing their product. And we can help sit down with companies and explain all of these things to help them better understand what their products will be looked at and what costs they'll need to incur. So what do we do? So the U.S. Commercial Service is actually in pretty much every country around the world. And actually here in Brazil, we have, because it's such a big market, we have 5 offices. And we really give companies business opportunities around the world. We have great relationships with the government and business leaders here. And we have experts in specific industries. So at the end of the presentation, I will share with you Marina Kono's contact details, and she's the specialist that covers UAVs, drones, and aerospace here in Brazil. So what do we do? So we help American companies through trade counseling, through market intelligence. We can do business matchmaking for companies. So for instance, if you're a US company and you're coming down for the drone show, we can help give you market intelligence before the show. We can introduce you to potential partners that can help you further your business here. And here, as I said, we have 5 offices across Brazil. Here are the heads of the offices. And here are my contact details, and Marina Kono, again, who is our aerospace and UAV specialist here in Brazil. And I'm happy to take any questions or tell you further about our services. And here I'll turn it over back to Emerson for questions.
Indeed, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, let's start to answer some questions. We have two questions to Vargas. One from Tom, the USA. What is the question, Vargas? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The question is, what is the status of BVLOS in Brazil?
Sorry, I didn't understand what the status of BVLOS.
I think it's the situation, probably in relation with regulation. Is it possible to fly BVLOS or not?
Okay. It's possible to fly BVLOS in all categories under 25 kilograms and over 25 kilograms. Okay.
There are other questions from Felipe. For a protocol, for a prototype or model, do I need to get the license?
That's a good question. Here in Brazil, the agency, the National Civilian Agency, ANAC, is responsible to issue the certifications and license. The Department of Airspace Control just provide the airspace access, okay? So about license and certifications, we can't respond to this question. Now until the ANAC regulations is not ready, okay, we are registering aircrafts and pilots, but after the regulation from ANAC is published, this its certification and license will be necessary to access airspace, Brazilian airspace.
Thank you, Vargas. There are other questions by Paul. Is it possible to compare the regulation nowadays in USA and Brazil? There are some similar things or not?
Yes, they're similar. As I said in presentation, since 2009, the Brazil participated in UASSG, Unmanned Aircraft System Study Group. So we tried to learn with other countries and apply here in Brazil what we learned them and there, and we took the France regulation, the US regulation, and all countries, and extract the best of them and apply here in Brazil.
Okay. More question for you, Vargas, from Michael. If it's possible to describe the regulation in some other countries in Latin America, like Argentina, Chile, and others. Do you know about this?
In fact, no. Brazil is the only country in Latin America in ICAO RPAS panel. So we are talking with Chile, Argentina, Peru, but we don't have legal regulations for by them. Okay, so we can't respond. We can't answer this question now because of it.
Okay. There are other questions. This for me. Oh, that is from Montgomery. Hello, Emerson. From Drone Fair received 22% of public sector in last year. We expect this number to grow the next shows? I don't know, because probably not, because in Brazil the public sector is suffering a lot with the economy. Probably we will be more participant from the private sector. And the question is, what do you expect to next years to change in security drones? Oh yes, in my opinion, this sector in Brazil, the expectative is to growing a lot, main in private application, not public application, but private application, my opinion. Okay. There are a question for Mindy. Mindy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it possible to arrange a meeting in the fair? Is it possible to organize a business meeting in the fair?
Yeah, I think that's totally possible.
Yes. What can I do?
Just contact me or Marina. If you don't have our contact details, I'm sure Emerson can share our slides with you after the presentation, which has our contact details on it. Just contact me and we can figure out exactly what you're looking for in the market, and then we can help start looking for partners for you.
Okay, there are other questions for Mindy. Oh, it's a very, very important question, Mindy. From Blats, is there an estimative for number of commercial drones being utilized in Brazil currently?
Oh wait, this is a question for me.
Yes, because probably I can help you, but please answer. I don't have this answer, this correct answer.
No,
but
the question is there a limit? Sorry, can you repeat?
No, what the estimative for number? How many drones do you have utilized in Brazil? It's a difficult question.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
do you have numbers about this?
I don't have. I know that there's. I don't know. I'm sure you have numbers. I know that there's always. I always see drones flying around the city. So.
Let help you. Let help you. In my presentation, we show prediction of 20,000 drones flying in Brazil. 20,000 drones, but we don't have official numbers yet.
Yeah,
it's a big number.
I would say the number is probably even more. There's probably so many that we don't even that we don't know about.
Probably needs to divide drones for recreation and drones for commercial application.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably we have 10%, 2,000 drones for commercial application and 19 for recreation. I don't know the number exact. There are other question for me, Miss Mindy. For a drone project with technology different from the common ones, for application of government interest and security, what would be the best market, in your opinion?
Here in Brazil, the best market for
Yes, I think so. I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, our office can help. Obviously, we have offices all over the world in embassies and consulates. And so we can look at your specific technology and see if it would work here in Brazil or if there's a better market outside of Brazil. When you sell to the government here, as I'm sure the guys on the phone know, it's sometimes a bit difficult to sell direct to the government, and you do need a Brazilian partner. And depending on if you're going to be collecting data or other things, depending on the technology use, if you're working with the government, you may have to give them your source codes. There may be other requirements here in Brazil, but we can sit down with you and any company and talk about your specific technologies and applications and figure out what, if this is a good market for you or if you should look elsewhere.
Okay, Mindy. Okay, let's start. We don't have more questions. Now we have more than 100 participants. I would like to thank you, Vargas and Mindy. Please, I would like to. Is it possible to talk about the last words, Vargas?
Yes, Emerson. Thank you. I think that it's a very important point for Brazilian regulation to understand the difference between autonomous flight and automatic flight. Here in Brazil, we don't treat about autonomous flight. Why? Because we need a pilot responsible to the operation. Okay, pilot in command responsible to operation. Okay. So we can't authorize the autonomous operation. In ICAO, they call it the full autonomous operation. I think that it's a very important point to our regulation and to requests of operation in Brazilian airspace. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, Vargas, thank you. Thank you. Mindy, please.
Sure. I just want to thank both of you, for Emerson, for organizing this webinar, and anything we can do to help the companies on the phone. And like I said, the U.S. Commercial Service is supporting U.S. companies overseas. However, there's other organizations similar. So if you're a Canadian company or a company from outside the U.S., there are other organizations that can support you in market too. So please get in touch with us, and we can help you figure out how we can best bring you to market.
Okay, Mindy, thank you. I would like to thank you for Vargas to prepare this presentation, and for Mindy and Marina to promote this webinar in the United States. Thank you for your efforts. I invited the people, the American professionals, to visit our fair on May. It's a good opportunity to know about the market in 3 days. It's a unique opportunity to know, to have a contact with the Brazilian market. Okay, thank you for the attention for all, and see you on May in São Paulo. Okay.
Great.
Bye.